What role does gleaning play in building a sustainable food system that provides for all Vermonters? We're learning about it today on Across the Fence. Hello, Vermont. For a variety of reasons, which we'll get into, not all produce grown on Vermont farms makes it into the belly of a hungry eater. In fact, some 14.3 million pounds of veggies and berries end up as food waste. That's where gleaning comes in. Across human history, gleaning has been seen as both a right and a responsibility, a way of redistributing agriculture's surplus bounty. In the Northeast Kingdom and Lamoille Valley, Salvation Farms is a linchpin of the region's gleaning network, working to create a future where all are fed and farms are thriving. Joining me today are Kelly Dolan, the Executive Director of Salvation Farms in Lamoille County, and Amanda Hudson, a recent graduate of UVM's Food Systems Accelerated Master's Program, I'm also a graduate, yay, who recently launched an online campaign to help familiarize Vermonters with gleaning and the work of Salvation Farms. Kelly and Amanda, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Sorry, I had to do that. I had to give a shout out to the grad program. It's a great program. Yep.
Yeah.
And you just graduated?
I did, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
So,
you.
14.3 million pounds. That is a lot. What is behind the numbers, Kelly?
Yeah, so it is quite a lot. So for Salvation Farms, our mission is really simple, but it's powerful. It's creating a future where all are fed and farms are thriving. And there's many ways that you could approach that work. And for Salvation Farms, we focus on agricultural surplus. And that's food from farms that isn't reaching traditional markets for a variety of reasons. It could be too big, too small, a farmer has a bumper crop, or a buyer falls through, and that's where we step in. Many of us have experienced zucchini season in Vermont, so we all know what agricultural surplus looks like.
Yeah, right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So we do know that there are, and then you mentioned there are those imperfect, the blemished fruits and veggies, things like that, that will not be accepted by a buyer on the other end, right?
Exactly.
And so the idea is this food, we don't want it to go to waste. It's great, composting is good, but
Yes.
it would be better if this actually food goes to people who need it.
Yes.
So tell me then what Salvation Farms does.
Yeah, more than anything, we're bridging the gap between an available resource on farms and Vermonters in need. So over the course of the year, for example, in 2025, we gleaned about 73,000 pounds of produce, and that represents about 200,000 servings of food. And that was done on 30 farms within the Northeast Kingdom and Lamoille Valley. So, yeah.
And so you are also maintaining all of these different relationships and networks. I'm assuming that building those relationships is a big part of what you spend your time doing.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's one of, and Amanda will talk more about that, is the network that Salvation Farms has and the relationships that we've fostered. Salvation Farms has been working for about 20 years here in Vermont, and I think a lot of the work that we're able to do is by virtue of those relationships and strong connections.
Yeah, and there's processing and things also involved too, right? Because there's, thinking about when food is coming out of the field, you're in this race against time because everything is perishable. So there's a lot of coolers, I'm assuming, and storage, and how do you maintain all of that?
Yeah, so we do have a processing program as well. That's when we're actually developing a paid market for farm surplus, purchasing that food and selling it to charitable programs and institutions that typically aren't able to afford it, like schools, prisons, Vermont Food Bank, and more.
Yeah.
It definitely relies on quite a bit of infrastructure, equipment to do the processing.
And a massive amount of volunteers, I imagine.
Correct, a massive amount of volunteers for our gleaning program, and every piece of that has to sort of work together in cohort.
Yeah, Amanda, why did you want to help Salvation Farms?
Yeah, when I was brainstorming my master's project, I knew that I wanted to collaborate with a community partner and create something that was very impactful for an organization. And I had a few years of experience in gleaning in the food access world. From doing my undergrad here, I was familiar with Salvation Farms, and I really admired their commitment to reducing on-farm food loss while improving food access and farmer livelihoods. And I reached out to Kelly this past fall, and we identified this opportunity to collect video impact stories to really tell the stories of the people that make this work possible. So I ended up interviewing a mix of people. It was farmers who donate their produce, volunteers who help glean and deliver produce, and recipient sites that distribute the produce. And the purpose of my goal with these videos was to really illustrate the network that Salvation Farms has created through its Gleaning program, to humanize this work and to really understand what has made it so successful. The final product was a series of 8 videos. There's longer form 4-ish minute cuts available to view on YouTube and shorter 90-second cuts to be shared on social media.
And they are incredibly well done. In fact, we're going to take a chance to look at one in a moment, because how do farms benefit from gleaning, right? Like, what do they get out of it? Amanda got Northeast Kingdom farmers to tell her their side of the story. Here's one. Let's take a look.
So my name is Taylor Maida, and we are here at High Morton Organic Seeds in Wolcott, Vermont. And we are a 100% organic seed company. We've been in business for, this is our 30th year, so our 30th anniversary. So High Morton sells seeds, not produce. And we have a research farm. We're harvesting, and we have a lot of produce. And we don't sell any of that. And part of it is that we don't want to compete with our customers. And we also then have agreements with the companies that we're getting these seeds from, the breeding companies, that we wouldn't then make money off of them. So we have a lot of produce, and we give them to our staff. We do trades amongst the local community for different items, and then the rest of that then gets donated to Salvation Farms. And thank goodness we have Salvation Farms, because I don't know how else we would be able to distribute all of this, the produce to the community. Last year we donated 11,425 pounds to them, and that feels successful. And in 2024 it was 9,000, almost 10,000. So and to be able to do that year after year feels like that's a successful relationship.
That's pretty amazing. So Kelly, you have established relationships with farmers like Taylor, but that's not the only way you get food, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and so a lot of the work that we're doing involves connecting the dots between farms and volunteers and distribution sites within the Northeast Kingdom and Lamoille Valley. So much of the work that Salvation Farms does is really coordinating behind the scenes, ensuring that these partners can come together in a meaningful way to really further the impact that we're able to have when working together.
You make that sound very easy, but I know that it is a lot more complex and complicated, because we're talking about, that's a lot of labor, right? In order to get all this food, we're talking about trucks, we're talking about people. Is part of this actually a fieldwork component too?
Yeah, absolutely. There's the gleaning process that happens within the field. We have 2 trucks of our own that we use for delivery. We have 2 different cooler sites located within the region that we serve. And so all of those things are working together to ensure that we can do the work that we need to.
Yeah, you can obviously get the sense that Kelly is one of these types of people who you're so, I think, accustomed to what you do that I wonder if you can actually appreciate from an outsider's perspective how astonishing it is, like how much work and what an important mission it is that you are fulfilling. It's really wonderful. So Amanda, and then there was the distribution side, actually, when you talk about that, because you need to get the food into bellies. So talk about some of who your partners are.
Yeah, absolutely. So for our food distribution sites, we work with a variety. It goes from everywhere from food shelves to shelters to elderly and after school programs. Salvation Farms distributes to about 60 sites, and we're also a member of the Vermont Gleaning Collective, which includes 6 member organizations across the state that also are involved in gleaning. And so when you combine the impact of all of these organizations, we're distributing to 200 locations within the state of Vermont.
Really incredible. So Amanda, you went and talked to Cindy and Dale Brown of Neighbors in Action. What did you learn from them?
Yeah, Cindy and Dale were such a pleasure to talk to. They are doing incredible work. Their food share feeds hundreds of Vermonters every month. It was sad, honestly, to know that so much need exists across the state, but it was equally inspiring to learn that this fresh local produce that Cindy and Dale get from Salvation Farms plays a vital role in the health and security of the population they serve.
Is food insecurity a major problem in the Northeast Kingdom and Lamoille?
It is, absolutely. It's a rural community. There's a lot of challenges that they are facing, and certainly the need far outweighs Salvation Farms' ability to be able to provide food. We're certainly doing everything that we're able to, but food insecurity is very real. Salvation Farms is involved in an effort, the Vermont Food Security Roadmap, trying to achieve a food secure Vermont by the year 2035. We're helping to work towards the goal with our work, and it's powerful, but there's much more that needs to get done.
Well, let's take a look at Cindy and Dale.
So I'm Cindy Brown, I'm coordinator. I've been here 22 years, and we feed the kingdom. So we have a food share. It's every 2 weeks, and we've been doing about anywhere from 290 to 340 boxes of food, which serves about 940 to 1,400 people every 2 weeks. It's just been such a great help to get the food from them, because the food bank sends us veggies too, but they have such a demand right now that I could order 15 bags of potatoes and I might get 5. There's so much need right now, it's crazy. When they cry over something like that, you get like, I get sad, it's like, I never thought see anybody get so excited over a bag of carrots or some veggies, but it's a tough world right now. Yeah, if we didn't have Salvation Farm, we really wouldn't be doing, we wouldn't be able to give them as much as we give them right now.
And it's great to see the support to local farmers.
Yes.
Keep it in your community, and they get to see what what their work does right in their own community.
So Amanda, what do you hope Vermonters get out of these videos? I mean, that's so impactful to watch Cindy and Dale tell their story.
Yeah, what I learned and what I hope shines through in these videos is that relationship building, trust, and friendliness are essential in cultivating a network like the one Salvation Farms has. Everyone I spoke to had such amazing things to say, specifically about the staff at Salvation Farms, and I think these relationships are so relevant and really play a role in enacting change.
Gleaning
in the food
is
system.
kind of, as I said, it's as old as human history, and yet it's still so incredibly powerful. Kelly, I assume you can always use support. How can Vermonters help Salvation Farms help Vermont?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're always looking for people to volunteer, and it's a wonderful opportunity not only to help feed people, but also to have a meaningful experience and to be able to experience the beauty of Vermont outside. The other thing is this program, as we've talked about, it requires a lot of support, resources, time, and energy from our staff, trucks, and all of that is in need of support, so we always appreciate donations. That goes a long way in allowing us to do the work that we need to do.
Absolutely. So you can see there the Salvation Farms Instagram handle so that you can look at some of those short form videos. Go to salvationfarms.org, click on donate. Obviously a worthy cause. Kelly Dolan and Amanda Hudson, thank you for joining me today and teaching us all about gleaning.
Thanks for having
It
us.
was wonderful. And as always, thank you, Vermont, for learning and exploring with me today, and thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.